Paradox can nerf naval invasions. Paradox can make the navy more complex. Paradox can make Japan non-aligned and forbid me from justifying early war goals. But Paradox cannot stop me. So boys, this is the new, insane Japan. Everything you see in here is our puppet. 520 factories, the allies completely destroyed, the Royal Navy completely wiped, and all of this was achieved in January 1939. This is insanity. This is new, broken Japan. Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. The new DLC, No Compromise, No Surrender, is finally here, and I absolutely had to cover the new historical Japan focus tree. And the best thing is, this path does not require the DLC, so you can all play it. I will be honest, it took me a while to find the optimal strategy. And the fact that Japan now starts as non-aligned and cannot flip fascist until quite a bit later in the run, severely limits early expansion options. Like the Siam, then Netherlands path I used in my old strategy, or the classic early attack on the United States. Yet, with the strategy I'm about to share with you, we will not only become as powerful as old Japan, we will surpass it in all aspects. And that's not all, I will also be using a brand new template that I cannot wait to share with you. If that sounds interesting, you are in the right place. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, but do not forget to join our Discord to meet our amazing community. As always guys, if you enjoy the content I make, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing and leaving a comment, it really helps. And now, let's get started. As usual, all research and focus priorities are in the description, so they will not be covered in the edited version, and the dedicated spreadsheet covering all steps in detail is available to Tier 2 members in our shared folder. The building priority will be very simple. We start with the land facility in Tokai, and then we just build military factories in the 80% provinces, and from now on, for the rest of the run, we will always be building military factories in the best available provinces, both in Japan and in our puppets, so I will not be mentioning this anymore. Here is the initial military production priority. As for the navy, feel free to make changes if you wish, but I will leave everything as default and it will work fine for us. We are going to fix trade except for rubber. Okay, now for the army setup. I'm going to gather everything first of all, then we are going to split off some of these divisions. So I'm also going to rename templates as usual to make it easier to follow the spreadsheet and also after tier 3 members of the channel. We're not going to use these bicycles and we're not going to use marines, or better not in this template. We're also not going to use motorized and we're not going to use the basic infantry, so these are the only templates I will be using for the rest of the run. Lucas, you will get this one, Space Marines from the very beginning, that's quite cool, and that's going to be called Off-T. I will also make this template elite. Mark, you will get our cavalry, which will actually see some action and an important role in this run. Andrea, you will be getting our def, that's also a very important template in this run, and I want it to be default, not reserves. Now from here we want to split off the Off-T, it's only 3 of them, and we want to split off all of the cavalry, should be 9 of them. Then we're going to assign 13 infantry divisions to the Off-T army, and we're going to change them all into Off-T. Everything else in here is going to be changed into def. Then we're going to recruit another 13 defensive divisions and 15 cavalry divisions. I'm going to split the defensive divisions in 2 different armies. That will get the additional ones we are recruiting. Then we can use a fallback line in Japan and just make sure everybody is training all the way to regular. I'm going to use Kotohito for the main army, and I am going to use Shunroku for the Off-T. The other ones do not matter as much, just use the best ones available. I am going to gather and train the entire navy. I'm going to use Jisaburo on the navy. If you have the DLC, you also have access to the naval headquarters, just use the second best admiral in there. As for the Navy, we actually train them constantly until we unlock the second Marine Doctrine. For the occupation law, we're going to use local police force plus cavalry, and although this is optional, I'm also going to release Korea as a puppet. I am going to assign a scientist because there is no reason not to do so, but I'm going to completely ignore special projects for the Navy. Finally, we're going to create an agency, and when we get our spy, we are going to spy on China. At 50 political power, we are going to pick the Army Offense Specialist. We're going to select our favorite tactic in here, well-planned attack. And then as soon as possible, as soon as we get to 2 army experience, so right now, we're going to change the Type 89 design. And we're going to use this design, which I called T0 instead. This design has decent soft attack and it will help our divisions early on. When you get this event for the historical Japan tree, we're going to put an end to this farce. And shortly after, you should be able to pick the first Marines Doctrine. At 100 political power, we're going to pick improved worker condition. And we're going to make some changes to the army. First of all, we want to reduce the cavalry combat width to 10, remove 1 battalion. Assign and train the new divisions as you get them. And then at 10 army experience, we're going to change our off-T a little bit. We're going to remove 1 tank, we're going to add 1 marine and 1 infantry battalion. I'm also going to use a cooler icon. We can now also pick the second doctrine in here, and we can stop training the Navy as we are completely out of fuel. Now the army should be basically ready, so 16 of T, 24 def, another 24 def, and 24 cav. Make sure everybody's training, aggressively execute battle plans, highest motorization priority, and at 150 political power, we are going to pick the Minister of Finance. Then at 20 army experience, we're going to make some final changes to our off-T. We're going to replace the armored recon with cavalry recon, and we're going to replace the engineer company with pioneers. Then when peaking this focus, you may have to wait a couple of days. We're also going to set up our army for future expansion. So we cancel the fallback line. We are going to use this off-T to naval invade China in the area of Shanghai. So now for naval invasions we can only use 2 groups, but since we got some of the Marines doctrines, we can go for groups of 8 instead of 6. So from Nagasaki to Shanghai and the area around it, and then again from Nagasaki to this harbor here and the area around it. We also want to gather and train all planes that will later be assigned to this same army. Cavalry can also be placed in here as they will be just following our off-T. As for the infantry armies, one of them will be placed at the border with Shaanxi, and we want to push them as soon as the war starts, as we complete the next focus. We don't care about pushing them in the south, you cannot fully capitulate them, we just need to take this northern province, then we will stop the offensive. The other army will be at the border with China, or better with this puppet of China, ready to push in here. Finally, we are going to request forces from our puppets. We're going to assign them to a different marshal, use a good defensive general, and these guys will be just covering the front in here. We can train them in the meantime. At 100 political power, we're going to pick infantry expert. As soon as possible, we're going to pick a scientist for the land facility. And there we go, we got our event, so we are officially at war with Shaanxi. We can start this offensive right away and we can micro them just a little bit, just make sure that they are pushing in the right direction. Again, we do not care about the south, we just want to push the north. And this should not be particularly hard. Okay, looks like we are already done in here. By the way, if you're wondering what we're going to do about the missions and the new system they added with this DLC, I'm going to completely ignore it from the beginning to the end of the run. It's not like you need to, but I'm just going to show you that you can completely ignore it. Okay, so now that we push the north, again, there is no point in pushing the south, so we're going to stop this offensive to preserve our equipment, and we're going to set up this army, same as the other one, to push in here. And to cover this front, we are going to use the puppet divisions on a full back line. Something like this. You can actually leave them some land here where there is this river. And just cover this part. This is already the setup for the upcoming war against China. At 20 army experience, we're going to pick political loyalty to help with the stability a little bit. And then as soon as you get the event for the successful campaign, you will get enough political power to pick army logistics. Then as soon as we complete this focus, we are going to pick insight tensions in here. That will enable the next focus down this path, so we're going for the Harakiri debate. This also means that very soon we will get our war against China, so it's time to set up the navy. Nothing too complex for the navy. I'm going to split off submarines. We're not going to use them, not particularly needed at this point. Going to split off destroyers and set them into two separate fleets on patrol in these two sea regions. The rest of the navy, the larger navy, I'm going to split them into two groups. I'm going to manually send one of them here and manually send the other one here. So we will get some shore bombardment where we need it. And there we go. So war it is, and now you can witness the perfect setup to capitulate China very quickly. In fact, even too quickly. We don't want to cap them very, very quickly because we actually want all of these puppets to be part of the war. And they join the war, some of them right away, some of them over time. So depending on that, we may want to wait a little bit longer. I will talk more about the timing a bit later. I would also recommend making a backup save at this point, just in case. Let's also make sure that now our planes are not training. In fact, they are supporting the army as they should. And in here, you don't need any crazy micro, but you can see how these divisions are completely idiotic. There is an empty tile in here and nobody's going there. So, you know, just for this kind of stuff, try to micro them at least a little bit. Then let's keep an eye on this area, which will be quite busy quite soon. And this is going very well so far. So from here we can already try to rush Nanjing. That would be quite beneficial. Okay, we already got the first puppet. We need to adjust these divisions a little bit after that. The idea is we want to keep rushing down. We don't care about Shaanxi. We want to push down into China. What we're going to do up here is we're going to use the puppet divisions to cover this front and defend it. As soon as you get the harbor in here, you can send over the cavalry. But things are looking pretty good in here. Very happy with what I'm seeing. So now we can rearrange this army a little bit too. While we wait for the cavalry to get here, we can keep pushing. Because right now, they don't have that many divisions. Especially their divisions are very low on strength. So we can push them fairly easily. We already got Nanjing. This will be an incredibly fast war with this strategy, guys. Trust me. Okay, things are looking absolutely perfect in here. Now, this is a good time to reorganize a bit. Although you could be using the cavalry right now to rush the victory points, I'm going to stop first, reorganize, give them some planning as well. And then we're going to do exactly that. We're going to use the cavalry to rush some of the victory points. Not all of them, because we don't want to cap them yet. When you get the planning, do start the offensive. Let's keep the pressure up. Now we're going to pick tactical bombing. As you can see here, we are messing them up big time. Of course, if we can join the two armies, that's also going to help. Okay, this is the event we really want to get because it gives us a lot of political power. So you never want to cap China before you get this event. After you get this event, you're happy with capitulating them. Keep in mind though that, let's get the event first of all, let's get the political power. Keep in mind though that if not all puppets have joined, now in this case they have all joined, so we're pretty happy with this. But if they haven't joined entirely yet, then delaying the end of the war may help a little bit with taking them in the peace conference. Right now, honestly, since they all joined and we got the event, the sooner we capitulate China, the happier we are. And I think in this case we need to concentrate our off-T a bit more in this central part, since we are currently struggling a bit to push in here. So let's go on and do that. Yeah, I don't know why this guy thought going from there is a good idea, but maybe he can pull it off. Now, as you complete this focus, you will get some new decisions in here. We're going to pick produce bullet stamps. And next we're going to pick luxury is the enemy. And by the way, down here we have a bit of an opening, so they don't have currently divisions. So we can try to see if we can abuse it somehow. That's not the type of opening that I like to see. Okay, let's see if we can adjust this. Okay, this is more like it. This is more like the type of opening I want to see. We can actually use a proper front line with these guys. That should help a little bit. We can also request a bit more forces from the puppet. That will also help. I also think we can move one of these infantry armies on this side to help a bit with this front. Needs the most care. Of course, if you have good traits here, pick them. Especially Logistics Wizard, always very good. And do mind that there is a bit of RNG in how this goes exactly. Depends how you can break with the cavalry, if you can break with the cavalry or not. As soon as possible, we're going to pick State Shinto in education. And then as soon as possible, we want to improve relations with India. We also want to put diplomatic pressure on them. And the main goal is to get a non-aggression pact, but especially to get docking rights. Now, we are a bit late with China, but we are still fine. And we are finally getting to the final victory point, hopefully. Let me check. Yes, boys, we did it. Slightly late, honestly. Usually with this strategy, you can cap them a little bit earlier. But, I mean, July 1937. Are we going to complain? I don't think so. And the cool thing about this is we also get everything in the peace conference. Not bad, right? Not bad at all. It does require a bit of micro in here, so maybe check out the unedited version if you have issues. As for the peace conference, we are simply going to puppet China with resource rights and war reparations. And look at our beautiful, big Chinese puppet. That's absolutely awesome. Now, what we are going to do next is my favorite part of this strategy. Now, they changed two things. They made Japan non-aligned, and they made war tension much lower with this new update. And one of the consequences was we had no access to early expansion outside of China. Well, we're about to fix that, as with the next focus we are going to turn fascist, finally, so we can justify claims and war goals. And thanks to the fact that we are non-aligned, only thanks to the fact that we are non-aligned, we got docking rights from India. And that's going to be key very, very soon. The other thing is the war tension is much lower, which means the UK is not going to guarantee countries we justify on, despite us puppeting all of China. So now we are going to pick Inspire Relentless Divine Nationalism, and that's it. And then we are going to make some changes to our off-T divisions. Specifically, we are going to bring them to a 7-4 with 15 army experience. We are also going to change the production a little bit. We want artillery and support equip at 3. We want infantry at 15. We're going to take these from tanks. Now we want to train everything, including the navy. So we're going to gather our navy. And we're going to constantly train it with the purpose of unlocking further marine special forces doctrines. Depending on the fuel situation, you may also want to import some oil from the Soviet Union. I'm going to do that so that we can train the navy a bit more effectively. As for the army, of course we can stop them. From now on, puppet divisions are entirely free. I usually set them on area defense in Japan. The rest of the army, we can give them a fallback line in the south of China. We're going to use them a little bit later, and in the meantime, they can keep training if they need to. So there is currently a bug. I noticed this last time, unless I missed something, because this medium tank is getting the traits, and this one is not getting the traits, despite the fact that we are producing with the other MIO. So I don't know exactly why we're not getting the correct traits. But for the time being, I guess we are forced to use this MIO and not the other one. It's fine anyway. Okay, as soon as you complete this focus, you are finally fascist. Good news. And fascist means a couple of very important things. Well, first of all, we can get docking rights from Germany and we can get docking rights from Italy, while retaining our docking rights in the British Raj. Then we can also justify war goals, and we're going to do that right away on Portugal. Why Portugal? Well, you will see. We keep unlocking Marines doctrines as we can, and at 100 political power we're also going to pick the decisive battle expert. At this point we're waiting for one more Marine doctrine. After this one we're going to make some changes. Okay, so there we go, 60 Navy experience. Let's pick the 4th Marines doctrine, and now we're going to make some other changes to our OFT. First of all, we want to pick the tip of the spear spirit. And now we want to bring this template to 11-4, adding as many Marines as possible. So first of all, you can do something like this, and then I think you can change a couple more battalions, one more battalion with Marines replacing infantry. So that's it, we can save it. Now though, we want to stop training the Navy as we are completely out of fuel in any case, and we need to do some setup for the Navy because we're going to plan a crazy naval invasion of Portugal. And to do that we need to do things very carefully. You cannot mess this up. It's not as hard as it seems though. So for the naval invasion itself we're going to use OFT, 2 groups of 8, so from Taiwan to southern Portugal, the area of Portimao, and then again to the area of Lisbon, something like this. Then we need to split the fleet into 10 groups. To make things a bit easier to manage, I will also create 10 separate theaters. The first one with the smaller groups is going to be setting them on patrol in these 2 sea regions. Make sure you select this gear icon. This gear icon will change their naval base to the correct one. Then we want another 3 of them in a separate theater on patrol over these 3 sea regions here. Again, you need to select the gear icon. So the last 5 groups will be on patrol covering the remaining sea regions that we require. So these ones, again, you need to select the gear icon. If you did everything correctly, you should have at least 1 group on patrol in every sea regions, although these ones need to get there first. Okay, things are looking pretty good here. So every sea region has at least 1 ship on patrol, so should be fine. This one doesn't matter much. Okay, we got our claim on Portugal, so it is time for the crazy naval invasion. Let's do it. Okay, so let's check in here. We still need a bit more naval dominance in here and in here, but we should get it soon. Also at this point, and as soon as possible, we want to start the flamethrower tank special project. We need this as soon as possible. As for the army experience, we're actually saving it for a couple of changes that we're going to make to our template and tanks. But if you have an abundance, like in this case, you can start picking the first sub-doctrine, Grand Assault. Perfect. So we got the dominance we need. War on Portugal. Let's take them down. Now, of course, these guys have quite a long way to go. But eventually, they will get there. And then I want to show you one of my favorite parts of the run. Now, as soon as you complete this focus, you gain access to a new concern, a very good one, minus 20% consumer good factories, so we're going to pick it right away. At the same time, we're also going to start justifying a goal on nationalist Spain as our invasion of Portugal proceeds. Finally, our guys are getting there after the long trip. And slow down maybe a bit. And then we want to take down Portugal as fast as possible, but usually that's not much of a problem. As you can imagine, Portugal is never really a challenge. So the only thing we want to do is want to rush the victory points fairly quickly if possible. It looks like it's going to be smooth as it should be. Portugal fighting hard, look at that, and look at that. You can do whatever you want with them. I usually balkanize them just for fun. More importantly, now there is my favorite part of the run. So we're justifying a claim on nationalist Spain, but of course we don't want to attack nationalist Spain while the Spanish Civil War is ongoing. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to send volunteers to nationalist Spain. I mean, if this is not Machiavellian, then what is? So we're going to send them volunteers, 6 of them, and we're going to help them end the civil war fast, so that we can completely destroy them after the civil war. And for the rest of the army, we can select a marshal and we can prepare a marshal line to push straight into Spain as soon as we are done with the civil war. We also don't need this crazy setup for the fleet anymore, so we can just gather them all in Lisbon for the time being. Now, the Navy special projects I don't particularly care about. Some of these ones are good though, so you can get the radar if you want. I will just ignore them for this particular guide, but you can, especially if you plan to go for a world conquest, it may be worth getting them. Despite the unplanned offensive, I'm pretty confident we can still push in there. Let's give it a try. Let's see how this unplanned offensive goes for Spain. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, Spain. And now as soon as you get all of the required techs, the last one should be the radio, you can upgrade the basic medium tank to a new design. And this is the design we're going to use for the rest of this run. Yeah, we're completely destroying them despite the unplanned offensive. That's very fun to see. That's very, very fun to see. Okay, at 150 political power, we're going to pick the State Shinto Advocate. And if you haven't done so yet, you can use the army experience now for Grand Assault, and then later on I usually pick Assault Infantry. We will get a discount through the focuses in a little bit. Large unit tactics is also very good. Okay, that's it. No more democratic Spain. We helped nationalist Spain. You should be grateful, guys, but you will also be dead very soon. When you get this event pick, we cannot trust, and then use the additional political power to take the ground support specialist. Okay, perfectly on time, we got our claim on Spain. Actually, our divisions are not exactly in position yet, it doesn't matter. We just immediately declare war on Spain and trigger the offensive. It's fun that they still have the blue icon, they still like me. Of course, we need to call Portugal into this. I do not want Portugal to get any score ideally, so if they have divisions, request their forces and don't use them. But yeah, it should be fine. You can rush victory points a little bit. The other thing you want to do at this point is you want to justify a war goal on France right away. Okay, we got the volunteers back. The problem is they went all the way back to Japan, so now we need to send them back to Spain. It will take them a while. Defending victory points? What's this sorcery, Spain? That's not cool. That's not what you're supposed to do. Oh, Italy to save their ass. Look at that. But yeah, not enough. Not enough. I didn't check the final casualties. I think we probably had more than 10k, so... In any case, again, you can do whatever you want. I usually puppet them because... I mean, balkanize them because Spain doesn't have a course on their own land, which is a bit annoying. Perfect. Very happy. Now, it's no rest. Because it's time to plan our naval invasion of France. For France, we're going to go from Bilbao to this area here. So the first group goes here. And the second group goes somewhere in here. It doesn't matter that much. It's gonna be incredibly easy. The cavalry can follow them around, maybe rush victory points if needed. The rest of the army is not particularly needed right now. We can set them in here and wait for their time to shine. As for the fleet, we can gather our fleet up here in La Coruña. Now we're also going to get the Navy Department upgrade, and we're going to start spying on the UK in the south. Next, we are waiting for anti-air to be produced and for flame tanks to be produced. They should be available more or less at the same time. I will also import a bit more oil from the Soviet Union. Don't want to be shy on this. I want us to be max fuel when we start the war on the Allies, because we will need fuel for the Navy. Okay, there is the flame tank. Let's start producing it right away. Nothing too fancy, we just go for a very basic design here. We're going to produce it with 5 factories for the time being, and we're going to take them from our tanks, and of course we're going to add it to our main template. And we're also going to add the support anti-air to our main template. Now we can also produce it. We are going to produce it with, again, 5 factories taken from our tanks. Okay, we already got our claim on France, which means it's time to set up the navy for it. So we're going for the basic setup for the navy that we will use in most scenarios. We split off the submarines entirely, assign them to a new admiral, we split them into smaller groups, and we set them on convoy raiding in the region we want to attack. Of course, make sure to use this gear icon, otherwise they will not have the range. Then we split off all of the destroyers, split them into 2 groups, and set them on patrol in here. The rest of the navy, we split it into 2 groups again, and we set them on a strike force in there. Now let's see if our admiral has something cool. He definitely does. This is one of the best traits in the game, so get it whenever you can. Okay, so we triggered the naval invasion. We declare war on France. Now we pick the logistical focus in here. Slow down maybe the speed a little bit. Let's see if we engage the Royal Navy. By the way, we also want to set the fleet on naval repair. Submarines can repair, but the main fleet is better set on naval repair. Engage either at medium or high risk. That's up to you, but medium risk is fine. Now let's see if France is defending. Oh, they actually have some divisions. Yeah, but not enough. These events are completely irrelevant. But as soon as you get to 50 navy experience, I would recommend picking night fighting. Who are these guys and who recruited them? I don't want these people. Ah, these are the Hind Legion. Okay, that's cool. That's the event I said, it's completely irrelevant. Once you disembark, you can send over the cavalry just to rush victory points if needed. You can change these into a regular front line. You can use a spearhead. By the way, guys, did you know they fixed... No, I'm kidding. They didn't fix shit. Spearheads are still broken, but you can still micro them a little bit. So you can do something like these and then micro them around when needed. No point in waiting for planning, so you can just start the offensive right away. In the meantime, yeah, as you can see, it didn't go very well for the French fleet in here. Didn't go well at all for the French fleet in here. So yeah, that's what happens. And by the way, here we got another headquarter. If you have the DLC, assign another admiral. These guys do help quite a bit in the region, so it's not irrelevant, but it's also not mandatory. You can succeed without them. And we're also going to justify a war goal on Belgium and Luxembourg at the same exact time. If you got the claim on France a little bit later, the next priority is to take the Grand Battle Plan Expert, but claims have a higher priority, so prioritize claims. Oh, some Royal Navy in there, I see. Yeah, that's not going to end well for that Royal Navy. Not at all. The main problem we're going to have with this series of wars is that our mainland is quite far. So we will struggle a little bit with supplies, which is why we can delay the end of the UK a little bit, but we don't want to do it for too long. So now France will go down. Bye, France. Bye, France. That's great. That's perfect. We want to immediately... Wait, where did I lose one of my... How is this even possible? Wow, I lost one of T without realizing. How? Where? That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. Where did my of T go? I probably missed it. It must have been during the naval invasion somehow. Very strange stuff, but that's okay. That's fine. So ideally you would invade the UK with 16 of them, but if you lose one, very unlucky, then you do it with 15. And the way we do it is quite classic. So we go from Dunkirk to these 2 regions, and then we go from here to these 3 regions. So we cover the entire southern part of the UK. Now we also want to send the rest of the army. The cavalry will be ready to support our off-T in the UK. One army of infantry will be covering the border with Belgium and Luxembourg. As soon as we get the claim, we will declare war on them, and then we will also target the Netherlands. That's not necessary, but it's additional stuff to take in the peace conference. And ideally, if you want to justify on other countries, of course you can do that. As always, the Mexican states are good. If you're going for a world conquest, you can justify on every non-aligned and democratic country in the world and take them all in the peace conference. I would not delay too much the invasion of the UK though, because supplies will end up being an issue. Unless you feel like setting up your navy to cover supplies all the way from Japan, which is extremely annoying, so I'm not going to do that. Now, as soon as we're done with the navy in here, we are going to reposition them. We don't need to cover this sea region anymore. We're going to do the same exact thing we were doing here, but in the English channel. Nothing different. And if you have the gear icon selected, they will automatically go to the right place to do so. And in here, there will be some big battle with the Royal Navy that you are going to completely destroy, because the default Japanese fleet is actually insanely powerful, as you can see right here. And you will see in many more battles that we will have in here. And by the way, as we unlock Navy experience, we can also get some of the naval doctrines. I really like torpedo primacy in here. I would follow it up with line of battle. And then with Japan, this one is pretty good as well. As I was mentioning, at 150 political power, we're also going to pick the Grand Battle Plan Expert. Make sure you import enough oil to keep sustaining the navy. Running out of fuel is the main danger in here. Okay, we got our claims on Belgium and Luxembourg. Let's go for them, but no need to push them. Just tagging them is enough. Then the Netherlands, then whatever you want. Or you can also just end the UK. In fact, in this particular one, I will invade the UK as soon as we get the naval invasion ready. And we can go for it. When you trigger the naval invasion, I would set a couple of these destroyers on naval invasion support. If you feel like it, you can also set one of the main larger armies on naval invasion support for some shore bombardment. Now let's see how much they are defending. They are defending a bit, but definitely not enough. Yeah, definitely not enough. So after the first invasion is successful, you can just go for a regular offensive line, tell them to push, send over the cavalry to reinforce the front. And no need for a lot of micro here, just maybe a little bit on this side. Make sure to push the entire southern coast. Here we get the Netherlands. Perfect. Yeah, and I mean, the UK cannot really do much. By the way, in here we have enough air experience for some doctrines, and I noticed they changed air crew surveys, and I like it less than before, so I think now we can go for this one. Or we can go for centralized control, which is always great. I would like to destroy the Royal Navy a bit more, so I'm going to change this to actually always engage. Yeah, why not? Fuck it. Fuck it, let's fight them hard. Let's also send out all of the submarines. I want to wipe them completely. We don't have a lot of time because we're actually wiping them on the land. So if we want to wipe them at sea, we need to do it fast. Now I will prioritize picking the last Special Forces doctrine in here before other Navy stuff though. Ooh, there is the Royal Navy. There is the Royal Navy. There was the Royal Navy. Ooh, painful stuff. Painful stuff. Yeah, it's painful. It's painful time for the UK. Oh, they actually have 7 divisions in here. Those 7, I really want to destroy. Now, the UK is getting completely destroyed, as you can see very well. So let me mention a couple of things here. Oh, look at the amount of divisions they have in there. I really, really want to encircle them. Let's see if it's possible. Just for fun, but it would be awesome if we could do that. Not here, maybe here. Very sad, very sad. Look at the amount of divisions they had. Wiping them entirely would have been fun, but I think we're ending them before that. Sad stuff. They are retreating too fast. Is it over? Is it over for the UK? Yeah, with Newcastle it's definitely over. I think it's over. Yes, it's officially over. This is the end of World War II. 37,000 casualties. That's not bad, I would say. Unfortunately, they did catch one of my off-T somehow in the invasion of France. I didn't even notice, despite having something like, what is it? 80% dominance. Actually, I expected a bit more. With Italy, we had a bit more. And the other thing I'm very curious about in this final score is the amount of points we get for sunk enemy ships. Look at that. That's quite insane. Occupation 2000, land combat damage 1600, destroyed planes 100, 31,500 from sunk enemy ships. Now, Germany is not in this, of course, because we triggered this war before they even got ready to attack Poland, much earlier than they would attack Poland. It's only January 1939, actually. But even if they were in this, we would probably have like 99% of the score because of those sunk enemy ships. We almost completely wiped the Royal Navy. How much? We will probably find out very soon in the final peace conference. Now let me deploy this division and let me assign it back here so it looks like I didn't lose that one. We'll pretend that never happened. We'll just pretend it was always 16 and it never changed from 16. As usual, maybe make a save before the peace conference, although you have 100% of the score, so you cannot really mess this up. Speaking of the peace conference, you can annex everything if you feel cocky and you want the world to look like Imperial Japan. And that's very cool. I'm not going to lie, that's very cool. But in this case, I'm going to puppet everything. It's a bit more efficient. Then, again, it's entirely up to you. Of course, the very fun part in which you take resource rights and war reparations from every subject slowly and painfully. And finally, let's see how much of the Royal Navy is left. It's less than half of it, I would say. We really destroyed it. In any case, what's left, we're just going to take. And be very happy with it. And be very, very happy with this. We did it, boys. We made Japan greater than ever. We were so fast that the next focus you see on the list, this one, we cannot even pick because you need to be at war with a major country. So you can just swap it for something else. Paradox can nerf naval invasions. Paradox can make the navy more complex. Paradox can make Japan non-aligned and forbid me from justifying early war goals. But Paradox cannot stop me. So boys, this is the new insane Japan. Everything you see in here is our puppet. 520 factories, the allies completely destroyed, the Royal Navy completely wiped, and all of this was achieved in January 1939. This is insanity. This is new broken Japan. What to do with the rest of the run is entirely up to you. You are now insane and you don't even have a coal deficit, which is quite impressive. You can take on the Axis if you want, you'll just destroy them. You can take on the United States, as usual, you have Canada to go for them. You can take on the Soviet Union, there are some very cool focuses in here that you can use for that. And you can even get a separate peace with them, not that you need it, to take Siberia. You can also play around in China by picking this focus, creating an additional puppet in there, and then getting claims on the parts of China that we haven't annexed yet. It's entirely up to you, you have plenty of options at this point, and you're absolutely insane. So whatever you choose, you will succeed at it. Now, one thing I must say, in future, if you guys request it, I will make another guide for Japan and I will make it a historical Japan because honestly, we did break the focus tree quite significantly. I mean, first of all, we almost didn't pick anything in this focus tree. Second of all, we completely ignored all of the factions and new missions and everything. I completely ignored everything. It's cool to know that you can do that. You don't need to interact with this new mini game. I will give you my honest opinion. This mini game I didn't particularly enjoy. The one for Germany, where you pick advisors and they unlock focus trees by themselves, in my opinion, was much more fun and successful. But up to you. And guys, another thing I would like you to let me know in the comments is whether you would like me to explore the non-historical paths, maybe a democratic or a communist Japan. If I get enough requests, I may do that. We'll also need to see how the DLC does. It was a tough start for it, but I see potential in this DLC, so hopefully it will get better. And by the way, everything we did today, you don't need the DLC to do, so plenty of fun to have even without it. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and this run, please do not forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment. It really helps, and as usual, a lot of work goes into these guides, so I really appreciate it. Other than that, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Bye bye.